Well, welcome everybody to week 4 of our May online program for the alumni of the Sunshine Coast Health Center. And this month, we've been talking about connecting with others. Now, we started out this month's program by suggesting that human beings are hardwired to connect with other people. It seems to be part of our upbringing. The reason why it takes so long for human infants to grow up, to be independent, is that all this time they're learning how to live in a society, live in a socially accepted way among other people. And as I mentioned before, a lot of psychologists now believe that the best way to understand the individual human being is to understand how this human being interacts with other human beings. In other words, this social world that the human being enters. Okay. And this idea of connecting with others has this remarkable benefit, and here's one of the things that we now know, is that we know that how I think of myself has a tremendous, is tremendously influenced by how other people treat me. So I will get a sense of who I am as a human being based on the reactions of people around me and how they're dealing with me. If they all think I'm Satan and they treat me as if I'm Satan, I'll probably start getting the idea, and especially if I'm a little tot, right? Then I'll really probably get this idea that I'm this evil person. If everybody thinks I'm a nice guy, then they'll treat me as a nice guy, and I'll get the impression, maybe I'm a nice guy. That kind of idea, right? So how you treat others, how you connect with others, is in large part how you look at yourself. And we see this all the time in real life, even in the center, where very often, for example, I'm sitting in group and one of the fellows says, "Oh, well, Harry hasn't showed up. Geez, this guy's always late, right? You know, we're all here on time and he's really ticking us off. You know, we think he should be punished." And when someone says that, very often, the reason they say it is because that's how they look at themselves. Likely when they were growing up or something, they got this idea the world works in a certain way, and if you break any of those rules or guidelines, then you are punished. Right? And it's probably how they look at themselves, and probably don't feel very good about themselves because they probably have a lot of guilt that they've done a lot of things they're not very proud of, and maybe feel they should be punished because they sort of broke the rules. Right? Again, an example of how people are treated, particularly young people, and this is the image that they take of themselves. And even the adult clients here probably may have been punished by their families, by their bosses. Maybe they were fired, maybe kicked out of school, maybe thrown, gotten a DUI or something, but looked at as a drug use, and it was sort of breaking the rules and therefore should be punished. That kind of thing, right? So by virtue of the way other people are treating them, this is how they begin to think of themselves. So the key here then is, if you can imagine, if you start treating people with dignity and respect, you start treating people as human beings, looking past maybe this behavior or that behavior, and look at, here is a human being who's struggling, who's suffering, very likely you will start attracting people who like that about you because you are a good person to be around. Right? You're not condemning them, you're not yelling at them, you're not judging them. And then they'll start treating you in a certain way. And then maybe you'll start having this feeling that, hey, maybe I'm not such a bad guy. Maybe I am okay. Yeah, I got problems. But maybe I'm like everyone else. Maybe I'm okay. Right? On the other hand, if you are not connecting well with people, maybe you're isolating, maybe you are getting mad at people. Maybe you are, as soon as you run into trouble with something, you sort of cut the ties and run away. Maybe you're being passive aggressive. You get mad at someone and then rather than dealing with it, you just wait till no one's around and go let the air out of their tires. Rather than doing that, or if you were to do that, then very likely people will start treating you in a in a certain way, and one that either avoiding you or feeling that they can't approach you, that you're not a very inviting person. And you might then, because you're getting all this feedback from everybody, get the idea, well, maybe I'm not approachable, maybe I'm not a kind of person that people will come up and talk to. You know, maybe I am a cold person, or maybe I am someone who doesn't like to hang around other people, because you're getting all this feedback constantly, right? So there's this fundamental importance of learning how to connect at a human level with people, because in large part it will determine how you look at yourself, because we're all, our identity, and a great deal of our identity is formed by how other people treat us, and treat us, you know, consistently. Anyway, that's it for me, and our little talks on connection, and we'll see you in June with a new topic.